Joining us now from the Ohio Dental Association, we have Dr. Hal Jeter. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
Dr. Jeter, we have seen and read the stories about the topic of fluoride, and especially adding fluoride to drinking water. It's been a popular discussion recently, so because of the safety. Let's talk about why this is coming into question.
Well, let's take just a minute and talk about fluoride itself and why it's important. Fluoride is a naturally occurring mineral. It's every place on the earth. It's in the crust, it's in water, it's in the ocean water, it's in rainwater, so it's everywhere. It's not something that was conjured up in a laboratory. It's not something that is industrial waste. God put it there. So it's here. So about the beginning of the century, last century, it was discovered that fluoride in drinking water did have some beneficial effects as far as reducing the amount of tooth decay. It created a resistance, for teeth to decay. And so that's been heavily researched, extensively researched, and so now we've come up to the point where we know that if we adjust community drinking water systems to a level of, and I'm going to throw a number out here that I'll explain later, okay, 0.7 milligrams per liter, okay, just file that one away. If we can adjust by adding to the low amounts that natural water has up to 0.7 milligrams per liter, that we have a very effective preventive frontline, low cost, high return mechanism to prevent decay with no adverse effects to our health. Okay, so 80 years of sound science track record there. So astonishingly, with all that behind us, there are some in high-level leadership positions who have seen fit to question its safety, and that is very concerning to us from a public health standpoint.
I can see why, because we do hear a lot of this, and if you see it on social media. No, they don't want fluoride, but you have seen the benefits.
I've seen the benefits and the detriment when it is not present, and there is a vast difference. So, some of the things that are being said about it, you may be wondering what the criticisms are. And so most of the reasoning is based on, at best, questionable science, which is really no science at all. Many people will cite a study that was done just within the past year or so that tries to link fluoride levels in drinking water to lower IQ in children. Okay, so that study has been called into question by the wider scientific community, but both because of its methods and its findings and the relevance of it. What it did was it studied fluoride levels in water in countries in Asia, which is okay. It doesn't need to be in the United States, but the problem is their concentration of fluoride is at least twice, if not more, of what you would ever adjust to over here. So you're talking about, many times more of what we would ever put in our drinking water, and so it's just not an apple to an apple. Okay. The other items are freedom of choice. I should be able to choose whether this is in my water. Well, we already have freedom of choice. You can purchase fluoride-free water. You can purchase toothpaste without fluoride. So the choice is there. And the thing about choice is this: when you're making a choice, the choice needs to be an informed choice. In other words, if you're making a choice based on faulty information, is it really a good choice? Okay.
And that's what we were going to talk about. How do you know what to trust?
There's a lot of information coming out
There's a lot of information out there, and I had a person mention to me once that if you go on the internet, you can find something to agree or disagree with about whatever you want, and I agree with that. When you're talking about information like this, the science is there, okay? So you would do best to talk to your doctor, talk to your dentist, talk to your pediatrician, talk to we're the ones who've sifted through all this. We're the ones who can tell about the validity and what is real science. And you got to realize that our purpose is to try to make the best decisions for our patients that we can based on the science for the patient's well-being.
Exactly.
And this website we're looking at, Mouth Healthy, is that one website that you recommend for if people want to do a little more research?
Exactly right. That is the American Dental Association's consumer website. www.mouthhealthy.org/fluoride will get you to a point where you can find out what the true information is about this subject, and hopefully make an informed decision.
It's always good to hear every perspective on these issues. Dr. Jeter, we appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me again. It's great to see you both again.
Thank you.
Hey, when we come back, Dr. Blanton joins us with one of his patients to talk about how you can reclaim your life if you're struggling with neuropathy.